Marvel Studios. The news that Thanos was going to be one of the most significant characters in Avengers: Infinity War shouldn't have come as too much of a surprise. After all, way back in February 2017, Kevin Feige confirmed that Thanos would be the main character of the movie, and we now know we're going to get a fair bit of his backstory thanks to flashbacks. The leaked reveal that Thor was going to be at the forefront of the movie was a little more surprising. Thanks to a variety of leaks and legitimate trailer details, we know that he's on a quest that will lead him to find Stormbreaker, the Thunder Axe that will replace Mjolnir as his weapon of choice. But why would that be one of the most significant story threads in the film? 3. Thor's journey. Walt Disney Studios. That journey will see him head to Nidavellir, the planet of the dwarves, where, rumor has it, we'll meet Peter Dinklage's character and the axe will come into Thor's possession. Logical thinking up to this point has centered on the idea that Thor will go to the planet specifically to get the dwarves to make him the weapon, but the second trailer has thrown something of a spanner into the works thanks to one very telling sequence. And it's that sequence that might explain exactly why Thor's mission is counted as one of the most significant parts of the film despite it not having any real relevance to Thanos' conquest. Thinking about it, Thor found out in Ragnarok that he doesn't need a weapon to act as a conduit for his powers. To borrow from Space Jam, the special stuff was already inside him, so why would he suddenly need a new weapon? If that was the real reason, it would be undoing the end of Ragnarok needlessly. The reality may be different. The reality may be that Thor, Rocket and Groot go to Nidavellir for another reason, and Thor comes into possession of the famed artifact Stormbreaker purely incidentally. And there's definitely evidence of that. Next, Stormbreaker's history. Page 2. Marvel Studios. Like Mjolnir, Gungnir and Jarnbjorn, Asgardian weaponry in Marvel Comics comes with history. The gods and their kin don't simply forge new weapons for the sake of it. They tend to come into possession of fabled artifacts that themselves hold special powers and history. Stormbreaker might not have quite as long a history in the comics. It comes into being when Beta Ray Bill defeated Thor in battle and was given it by Odin, but it's a name that matters in Asgardian history, and it should already exist in the MCU. In other words, Stormbreaker may already be on Nidavellir by the time Thor gets there, and there's a fairly compelling rumor that suggests he is forced to take it on as his own weapon when the dwarves are unable to forge any more weapons thanks to Thanos, more of which soon. That's why the handle is made by Groot, as opposed to by a dwarf blacksmith. And crucially, there's a shot in the trailer that seems to suggest that the idea of Stormbreaker being forged there is impossible. Marvel Studios. It might not be entirely clear, but that image has been digitally altered to remove Stormbreaker. If he already has his weapon, why does he seem to be igniting the forges with it? Because those forges really don't look fully lit at this stage. You'd probably expect more color and more activity, and the light given off from the shot in the first trailer of him opening the space forge seems to be far greater. What if this, and Thor getting Stormbreaker, come before he even uses the forge? So what is he doing with those forges? Read on to find out. Next, why Thor lights the forges. Page 3. Marvel Studios. There's already a suggestion that Thor and the Guardians find out, possibly from the Collector as he dies, that the Infinity Gauntlet was forged on Nidavellir, and that Thanos stopped the dwarves forging anything else, so it could only ever exist as a soul piece, and that's why they head there. That would make a lot of sense. The gauntlet is as powerful as the stones, since it allows Thanos to harness their power. Without it, the powers would be too volatile to actually use to his advantage. So it makes sense that the heroes would try to find out about the gauntlet to see how best to take Thanos down. The theory here is that Thor, Rocket and Groot are sent to Nidavellir to find a weakness in the gauntlet or a means to stop it, heading to the source to discover an end goal. That isn't to say, necessarily, that they light the forges to provide a Mount Doom to throw the gauntlet's one ring into, though. It might be that Thor is told that the only way to contain the stones is to forge something else like the gauntlet. It's definitely food for thought, anyway, and it would certainly explain why that subplot is so elevated in importance in the film. What do you think? Read next. Avengers: Infinity War. 13 major plot reveals from Trailer 2.